Structuring a findings report is really the moment where the investigation becomes a clear, usable product. This is where all the disorganized information, the interviews, the documents, the timelines, the charts gets transformed into a structured, logical, and defensible record. A good report doesn't just list what people said. It shows how the investigator reached their conclusions, step by step, through clear reasoning paths and logic chains. A professional findings report usually follows a predictable structure because it helps the reader understand the case quickly. It starts with an executive summary, a one-page snapshot for leadership that outlines the mandate, the issues, and the final findings. Then it defines the mandate and terms of reference, which keeps the investigation focused and prevents scope creep. The report explains the process, who was interviewed, what documents were reviewed, and any obstacles that came up. It identifies the policies that apply to the alleged conduct. And then it moves into the heart of the report, the findings of fact and analysis. One of the biggest mistakes investigators make is stating a conclusion without explaining why. Every finding needs a clear reasoning path. That means tying each fact to a specific piece of evidence, an email, a witness statement, a log entry. When accounts conflict, the investigator must explain why they preferred one version over another, pointing to plausibility, corroboration, or motive to falsify. A good test is the Globe and Mail test. Would you be comfortable with your reasoning being published in a major newspaper? If the logic is sound, transparent, and ethical, it passes. Logic chains help the reader follow the story. Findings should be presented as tight, chronological snippets, each building on the last. Facts that are not in dispute should be separated from those that are. And in complex cases, each allegation should be addressed separately, with its own evidence, analysis, and conclusion. This keeps the narrative clean and prevents confusion. To manage large volumes of data, reports often use evidence tables and indexes. A witness index and exhibit index act as a roadmap for the reader. Chronological timelines help keep complicated facts straight and highlight missing time. Matrices and flowcharts are especially useful in financial or fraud cases, where visualizing relationships or internal control failures can make patterns obvious. Bulleted lists are often better than dense paragraphs because they're easier to navigate and easier to redact when sharing the report externally. And the report should focus on findings, not recommendations. Discipline decisions belong to leadership, not the investigator. If recommendations are requested, they should be placed in a separate document so they don't contaminate the objectivity of the findings. In the end, structuring a findings report is about clarity, logic, and defensibility. It's about showing exactly how the investigator moved from evidence to conclusion in a way that any reader, HR, legal, leadership, or even an external reviewer can follow with confidence.